Hey there, Danielle Matthews here. I am coming to you live from Florida. And if you're new to my content, I help people that are on a healing journey. I help you heal physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, sharing the systems and the techniques that I used along my own healing journey as I came back from a traumatic brain injury. So on Mondays, we always get together live and in person to do book club. So those of you that are joining me live, let me know when you arrive so we can get started. But if you are not part of book club traditionally, you can tune into this. Every single chapter is unique. The insights that you can receive from this book in particular, we're reading The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. We call him Mickey Singer. They're fantastic, standalone. And especially today. Morning, Stacy. It's good to see you. Today's reading was absolutely incredible. I think hands down probably the best analogy I've ever heard for helping you understand what to do with the people in life that frustrate you. Hi, Charlotte. With the situations in life that trigger you, that make you upset, that hurt you, that close your heart, that make you sad, all of these things. Hey, Tina, good to see you. I don't know about you all, so those of you that are here live with me, like this analogy with a thorn, was it not just like fantastic? I was reading this going like, yeah, when you put it this way, we all sound ridiculous. But when you really take what he's saying, you can understand like how simple it actually is in life to deal with the root of our issues so that we're not getting triggered, so that we're not getting hurt by other people. Yeah, Charlotte, you liked it too. Right, it was really good. Really, really good. So we're on chapter 9. If you want to join the discussion or just stay connected with assignments and what we're up to, I did start a Telegram channel. I'm still learning Telegram, but basically I just put in there what we're doing each week. If you have comments, questions, whatever, you can reply in there and we're all connected there. Hey Karen, good to see you. Glad you're on here. Glad everybody's getting on. I know it takes a minute to find me once I go live. So we're like halfway through the book. I was just looking. There's, I believe, 19 chapters. So we've got 10 more weeks together. Another 2.5 months. It's going to take us up to basically June. And each week, it's a good way to start the week. So if you're catching the replay, let me know. If you've got questions, comments, any of the things, I'm always here. Just comment away and I'll reply. And I can get you that Telegram chat if you need. So I think we'll jump in now. Again, chapter 9. It's called Removing Your Inner Thorns. And it's basically a lesson on how to solve all of your personal problems, right? All of those inner thorns that we have where we get upset, we get triggered, right? Our buttons get pressed. I'm sure we have people around us that are very good at pressing our buttons, right? We want to talk about how to address that so that we don't have to deal with that anymore. And he basically sets up that we've got two options. Number one is we can protect ourselves so that we're not triggered, right? We tell people don't press those buttons. We set up barriers. We don't go to certain things. We don't expose ourselves to certain information or people because we know it triggers us. He says that's one way to do it, to basically control the external world. Put a 1 in the chat if you've tried that. I know I've tried that in the past. I know people that I love dearly that are doing it presently. And it can seem like a good idea of like, oh, okay. You know, we need to just kind of control the circumstances around here. Yeah, Stacy, you've tried it. I'm sure other people have tried it. Yep, Karen's tried it. Okay. Did it work? If it worked, tell me, because you must have figured something else out. But I'd say for the vast majority of people, it doesn't work because life, if you haven't learned this already, has no allegiance to your plans. Life is just doing what life's gonna do. And it's kind of crazy the ripple effects that can happen, right? When you, if you play pool, you know, you take the white, I don't know the terms for pool, but like you take the white ball and you hit and you break like when everything's in a triangle, and the balls just bounce everywhere. And it's like if you tried to figure out, well, how did this hit there and do that? And like all the ramifications of one action, think about that times the billions of people in this world, like stuff just is going to happen. Life is going to unfold. It's not unfolding for you. It's not unfolding against you. It just is what it is and it's just happening. But if you have some idea of how things should be or ought to be and you're trying to just control everything to kind of be in line with that, it's not going to go well. And you're going to be a bit exhausted. Like I said, if you figure out how to do it, tell us and enlighten the rest of us. But I would say the vast majority of us have not figured it out. Morning, Marie. Good to see all of you that are popping in. The second option we have is to embrace this as an agent for growth. So he says, when you do get triggered, when something does happen that is uncomfortable, rather than going, oh gosh, how do I prevent that from ever happening again? Going, hang on a second, what is that? What is that within me that's unexplored, that's making me upset? And can I use this as a trigger for my own growth and further self-awareness? And he says the spiritual journey is one of constant transformation. I love the beginning of this chapter. He says, you must give up the struggle to remain the same and learn to embrace change at all times. Real transformation begins when you embrace your problems as agents for change. Did that hit anybody else? I read that, and I probably read it like 5 times, and I underlined it, and I went, wow, real transformation. So when you're really going to get unstuck, when you're really going to transform, when you're really going to change yourself and have that inner growth, that happens the moment that you start to embrace every single problem, every single issue and obstacle as an agent for your growth. Going, oh, this is here for me. This is happening for my development. This is teaching me a lesson. What's it teaching me? Rather than getting upset, oh, it shouldn't be this way, it ought to be different, it should have been this, blah, 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 we're now saying, okay, this occurred for some reason. There is some gift here from the divine, something I'm supposed to be unwrapping and learning about myself. It's powerful. I love it too, Stacey. Like, it's super powerful to look at life through that lens. And after this analogy he gives, you kind of go, well, there really is no other choice. Any other choice would be ludicrous. So the way he sets this up, and again, I just thought it was so brilliant. He used the analogy of a thorn. He says, okay, let's look at external things. Let's say you have a thorn in your arm, and it's pressing on a nerve. And so this thorn that's pressing on this nerve, it gets irritated, right? If you go for a walk, you bump into something. Like I walk here in the woods, right? If I bump into a branch, ooh, right? It hits my nerve. I get hurt. If I'm sleeping and I roll over on my side, ooh, like there's pain, right? This thorn is causing pain. If loved ones hug me, they hug me and they touch my thorn, it hurts, right? My dog jumps or licks me or something, boom, touches my thorn, it hurts. And so he sets up this whole thing saying, look, it makes daily life very, very difficult when you have something that's constantly getting triggered, right? It's constantly causing you pain. It's not comfortable. And so what can you do about this? Well, with a thorn, I think all of us know what's obvious, right? One option is, you need to make sure nothing touches it. So one option is just to avoid it being touched, which sounds difficult. But option number 2 is, okay, I need to remove this thing that's bothering me, right? And when I remove it, it's probably going to hurt a little bit, but then it's going to be gone forever, right? We have 2 options. And I think all of us sitting on here listening to this would go, yeah, obviously, option number 2 makes sense. But let's just, for argument's sake, say that we go with option number 1. And we say, okay, rather than just removing this thing because you're too scared to touch it, like my dog, we get these like spiky things, like burrs out here in the woods, and inevitably we go on a walk and Bodie lifts up his leg, right? And he's like, I can't keep walking, there's a burr in my foot. But he gets nasty with me when I try to get it out. Like he used to bite me when I would try to get it, and I'm like, I'm trying to help you, but it hurts, right, to pull it out. And so wouldn't it be better, right? He used to just try and like limp along and just like not irritate it. And finally he realized, oh, mom's helping by pulling it out. But anyway, so let's say you decide that you're going to keep going and you're just going to avoid people touching your thorn. Well, this becomes the work of a lifetime. Okay, so now if you want to go for a walk, you need to clear out the woods. You need to make sure that this path is very clear, that your thorn is not going to get irritated, that you can't bump into anything. So you're going to have to spend some effort clearing the way. Right? So, okay, you've cleared the way, you can go on a walk, great, right? You've solved your problem. What about sleeping? Well, we talked about when you roll over, it hurts. Well, what if you devised this apparatus that could cover the thorn, and so then when you're asleep, maybe it's like a bubble, and then you roll on it, and it's inside of a bubble so it doesn't get hurt. Well, now you've solved the thorn problem, right? And you can teach other people that have a thorn in their side how to sleep with the thorn. And so he goes on, right, this funny example of, well, now you can go on TV and you can talk about it, and you can get royalties when you sell it, and you can patent this thing and all this stuff. And now, oh my God, you've solved the problem for yourself and thousands of others, right? Kudos to you. You've solved the problem of the thorn. But have you? And then he goes on to say, okay, well now you get into a relationship and you have a loved one that's around you all the time and wants to hug you and you want to be intimate with them and you want to maybe cuddle at night and whatever, but they hit your thorn. And they hit your thorn all the time. And the thing that works at night doesn't work during the day. And so you have to build this entire apparatus now that has hydraulics and this whole system, and you've got to rearrange the house and the furniture, and you've got to, change the door frames so that you can get this apparatus through, but you figured it out. So now you can be with other people and you can hug other people and you can go out and about, but you got to make sure your car's set up for it and all this stuff, right? He's going on and on and on. It's how ridiculous it is to build this apparatus, but you've accomplished it, right? The thorn is not ruling your life, or so you think, right? When we go through this, right, it seems like a lot more work. Yeah, right, exactly, Stacy. It's a heck of a lot more work to go through that whole thing. But you believe I've solved my problem. I'm a free being. I can go anywhere I want. I can do anything I want. This thorn used to run my life. Now it doesn't run anything. That's what you think. But as Stacy just pointed out, and I'm sure the rest of us reading this were kind of laughing, going like, no, actually, the truth is it's completely and entirely running your life. It is dictating where you can go, how comfortable you're going to be with people. It dictated that you had to change your house, that you had to change the way you sleep. It dictated everything, all right, where you were allowed to work. The thorn is running every single aspect of your life. Even though it seems like, oh, I've solved the problem. No, you didn't. Your life is built around the thorn. Everything has to do with the thorn. You didn't solve anything. High five me if you're with me. Put a 5 in the chat if you're with me. Like, that this just sounds ridiculous. Okay? So it turns out that the life of protecting yourself from your problem becomes a perfect reflection of the problem itself. Okay, so those of you that high five me, you're with me. And this is a really important statement, and I want you to consider it and reconsider it and reconsider it. All right? Again, it turns out that the life of protecting yourself from your problem, so going through all of this to protect yourself from the thorn, becomes a perfect reflection of the problem itself. So in every interaction, do you see how the world is actually reflecting back that there's an issue with the thorn? This is an important little nuance I want you to get, okay? And just because if you don't solve the root cause of the problem, but instead attempt to protect yourself from the problem, it ends up running your life. All you did was devote your life to avoiding it, and it's now the center of your universe. It's there. Just because you're not in pain, it's not poking the nerve anymore, does not mean that you solved the problem. Are you with me? Just because you managed life around the issue doesn't mean you got rid of the issue. The thorn is still there. And if all the things broke down, it could still get poked and hurt you. Marie says, this was so good to realize that thorns have been there and I needed to get them out and not just adjust to them. It is a continual process. What an eye-opener. Yeah, this is a massive eye-opener. That's why I absolutely love this analogy, because it's ridiculous. Like, no one would do this with a thorn, right? Even with Bodhi, who was trying to bite me when I tried to take the thorn out of his foot, like, we still managed to, like, get the thorn out, because we know it's better to just remove the darn thing than try and, like, create something for him to walk all around with the thorn till it works itself out. Like, just not going to happen. All right? So now we need to make the jump from, okay, this external thorn, quite obvious, right? Quite obvious. It would have been better to just remove the dang thing, right? It would have been so much more simple to just pull the thing out, not get triggered by anything, and just, deal with the discomfort momentarily, but then you're back to normal life. He says, now I want you to think about this thorn as something internal, okay? So you can think about and insert your own internal triggers or things that come up for you, maybe self-worth issues or abandonment issues. He uses the example of loneliness. He says, now I want you to think about the same analogy, and we're going to run it through with loneliness. So loneliness is the example. Well, because you're lonely at night, it's hard to sleep, right? When everything in the busyness of the day goes away and you're trying to sleep at night, all of a sudden those lonely feelings come because you're by yourself, because you're all alone, right? And it's there so much that you can't even sleep. And he also says, okay, well, you're so sensitive you go out into the world, but you're feeling lonely. You're feeling unhappy. And so you just look at the world and it seems like everyone's a couple and everyone's together and everyone's doing fun things and everyone has friends. And so when you go out and about in the world, it just makes you miserable. It hurts your heart, right? Things are bumping up in there and it doesn't feel good. At work, all you can think about is that you're lonely, that your coworkers don't understand you, nobody gets you. And so this thorn of loneliness is constantly being irritated. Okay, we have sensitivities about the loneliness, or you might have it about rejection or your personal appearance, anything mentally, right? These are the inner thorns we're talking about. You have the same two choices that you had with the external thorn, all right? So you can either modify your life so that loneliness doesn't get triggered, or you can figure out how to just pull the thorn out, how to pull out this lonely feeling. When you're lonely, you find yourself pondering what to do about your loneliness. And this is key. What is it that you can say or do in order to not feel so lonely? Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever tried to mentally overcome a trigger where you go, okay, what can I say or do so that I don't feel this way? Anyone done this? Like, well, maybe I'll watch a movie, or maybe I'll go get some ice cream, or maybe, I'll call my mom, or maybe I'll go play with my dog. Like, what are some things, right? Marie is recognizing this, Stacy's recognizing, Lou's recognizing it. Okay, Tina's recognizing it. Yeah, we ask ourselves questions on the level of the mind of what can I do to solve the problem, right? Because the mind wants to seek pleasure and avoid pain. That's what the mind wants to do. Okay, so it says, well, what can I do to solve the loneliness? But guys, this is what you need to understand. Notice that you are not asking how to get rid of the problem. You're not asking, how do I pull out the thorn? You're asking, how can I put a bubble over it? Make sense? So again, in the example of the thorn, that would be like you asking, well, how can I make it so this thing never gets hit? Well, I could build a bubble around it. I could make the whole apparatus, right? You thought that was ridiculous with the external thorn, but here we are all doing it with the inner stuff, with the loneliness. We think to ourselves, okay, well, what can I do so that I don't have to feel this right now? Whoop, put the bubble over it, right? The better question would be, what can I do to pull this thing out, right? We saw that with the thorn in our arm example. So this is what we need to start thinking about. He says, notice that you're not asking how to get rid of the problem. You're asking how to protect yourself from feeling it. You do this either by avoiding situations or by using people, places, and things as protective shields. This is why people numb out. This is why they drink. This is why they go to sex, drugs, alcohol, right? All the things. They find a relationship that helps them not feel lonely, even though, like, if something ever happened in that relationship, they'd be back to being lonely, like, because they're not full and complete on their own. This is what the mind tells us to do, because the mind doesn't know better, but you're going to learn better. Okay? You're going to end up just like the person with the thorn, building this crazy contraption and this incredible life around the thorn. All right? Rather than just, taking it out. What question could we have asked instead? Well, how do I get rid of loneliness, right? How do I stop myself from having to feel this? What is it within me that is getting triggered, right? Where's the thorn? The problem will be back the moment any external situations fail to protect you from what's inside. If you do not remove the thorn, you will end up responsible for both the thorn and everything you pulled around yourself in an attempt to avoid it. Now, look at the craziness that we get ourselves into as humans. So because we don't want to deal with loneliness, right? Maybe we've founded a club. So now we're the president of the club and we need to get everybody together every month for the club. And so now we're worried about all the things that we have to do with the club. And maybe we've gotten a dog. And so now we have to do all the things to take care of the dog. And because we had this loneliness and we're trying to build the apparatus, right? So we don't have to feel it. So it's not getting triggered. So we have a bubble over it. We're creating all of these things that now, not only do we now have to protect ourselves from the loneliness and still have that loneliness inside potentially being triggered, but now we got to manage all this other stuff that we've pulled in trying to fix the problem. Okay, the Band-Aids that we're using. Is this making sense? So this is what we're trying to do. If you do not remove the thorn, you'll end up responsible for everything. You've managed to compound the issue by avoiding the problem. Now you have no choice but to go out and fix everything that affects you. You have to worry about how you dress, how you talk. You have to worry about what people think of you, because that could affect your feeling of loneliness and your need to be loved. If someone is attracted to you and this eases your feeling of loneliness, you're going to want to say, well, how do I act in order to please you so that you'll never go away? I don't want this feeling to ever end, for the loneliness to come back. And you get into some crazy, weird relationship, right? Where there's these unexpected things that you're leaning on them for that you shouldn't be. You shouldn't rely on anyone else for your happiness. But this is what we do. The root problem is now buried under all of these shallower issues when you're really just avoiding the deeper one. It gets super complicated super fast, doesn't it? Like, did alert bells go off for anybody? As I was reading this, I was like, holy moly, look at what we do, right? Humans are crazy. Humans are crazy. If they only knew how to just pull out the thorn. If they only knew how to just go internally and get rid of that thing that's making them be triggered by loneliness. Yes, you're with me. Stacy's with me like 100% today. All right. You get into these relationship dynamics. Like, put a 2 in the chat if you know somebody or you have gotten into a relationship thinking like the relationship will solve my problem. Like, this person just makes me feel good. They make me feel pretty. They make me feel loved. They make me feel all these things. And then that person has left. Maybe you got out of the relationship, or they changed, or they passed away. All right. And all of a sudden you're like not okay in there again. Probably even worse than it was before, because now you had it and it's gone. Or if the person you're still in the relationship and they've shifted, you're like, what the heck? And you're angry now at them for just being themselves, because they're now not that brace for you to like lean on. It gets wild. So there's some people, yeah, I know. I've seen it. I've done it. Been there. Do not doubt your ability to remove the root cause of the disturbance inside of you. It really can be done. Guys, you do not want the weakest part of you running your life. I'll say that again. You do not want the weakest part of you running your life. Think about the thorn. That person had the weakest thing running their life, dictating everything, creating ridiculous scenarios and situations. They thought they were mastering it all, that they had conquered life. No, the thorn was still the root of everything. Their weakest point was dominating their life. Do not let your weakest point dominate you. Do not let it dictate who you get into relationships with, how you show up in the world, what you're doing with your time and your energy and your talents. Don't let it. If it's loneliness or it's the fear of rejection or whatever it is, that weak point that you have, your self-worth, whatever it is, zero in on it and figure out how to pull this dang thing out. This is not serving me. I do not want this. Like, let's get the thorn out of here. Okay? That's what we need to do. We need to just pull it out. So how do you free yourself, right? That is the ultimate question then. So what do we actually do to get rid of the thorn? In the deepest sense, you free yourself by finding yourself. And I want to ask you in the chat, you can kind of just put in if you're ready, if you're near and can type, what do you think he meant by that? You free yourself by finding yourself. Like, it seems like a riddle, which can be a little irritating, right? If you're like, give me a practical answer, Mickey. Like, what do I do here? I don't want the thorn. Can we pull it out? What does he mean by you free yourself by finding yourself? It's funny because I've heard Mickey speak before, and he'll say, like, I don't do one-on-one coaching. I don't take one-on-one clients, because literally what I would say to everyone is, who's the one watching the problem? And that's it. He's like, that solves everything. So Mickey is very practical. So what he means by this, you free yourself by finding yourself. You free yourself when you realize, I am not my thoughts. I am the witness to them. I am the one watching them. That's my inner roommate that is disturbed. That's not me. And he says the moment that you can remember that's the inner roommate, right? That's my mind, my ego, my thoughts. It's not me. I'm the one watching it. I was there before the thought came. I was here during it, and I'll be here after it leaves. I'm the one watching it. He says when you learn that, when you find yourself, when you go into the seat of witness and you can actually realize I am not my thoughts, that is when you start to resolve everything, because all of a sudden you don't take it so dang seriously. and it flows through. Understand this. Your emotions gain momentum when you pay attention to them. And so if you're focusing on the loneliness, energy follows attention. And so if you're focusing on this, you're literally just streaming more of your life force into this issue and you're expanding it. And so Mickey says, no, the way you solve this is not to just focus on the loneliness. It's to step back and go, whoop, that's not me. Oh, I'm watching the movie. I'm not the movie. Oh, loneliness is coming through on the screen today. Great. It's going to leave also. I don't need to get all engaged in the BS of it. That's what he's saying to do. Easier said than done. Okay, but Mickey's very practical, right? So he says, to free yourself of your inner thorns, you simply stop playing with them. The more you touch them, the more you irritate them. Because you're always doing something to avoid feeling them, they are not given the chance to naturally work themselves out. The problem is you either completely avoid situations that could cause them to release, right? Life is giving you opportunity after opportunity. When you're triggered, that's the moment that you can actually release the thing. So if you're avoiding getting triggered, well, you're never going to know what's in there, right? And you're never going to be able to release stuff. So he says you're either avoiding it, therefore you're not creating opportunity for release, or when they start to come up, you push them back because you're like, I don't want to feel this. It's too much. All right. I love, Wayne Dyer. I don't take this too seriously. It's deep and takes practice over and over again. It does work. It does. And this is, some of you have taken Inner Management Mastery with me, like a couple of you that are on here. And you know very well, this is what I teach. And what I love about the tradition that I've studied for the last decade is they give you the tools, right? Mickey has created beautifully the context, and he's right. All you have to do is get into witness. But sometimes it's very hard, right? There's decades of practice that your mind has that it takes over. Right? And just boom, all of a sudden, like you're emotional, you've lost your seat of awareness, like it's just gone. So there's two things that my teachers have taught me that I teach in Mastery. One is how to go beyond the mind. So in guided meditation, specifically I teach Yoga Nidra, we take you to the space of witness. We take you beyond the mind. We take you to being the observer of the movie. And you do it every single day. You literally create new neural connections. You're literally shifting physiologically how the brain is working, but also you're now experiencing your true nature. And once you've kinesthetically experienced it, you will forever know the truth of it. And you will know that it's better to rest there than to get caught up in the BS of the mind. That's number one thing, right? During Mastery, as you guys know that have been through it, you get a Yoga Nidra, you do it every day. And so for 30 minutes every day, you're going into the witness space. So it's getting easier and easier to release this stuff. The other thing that my lineage has taught me that Mickey doesn't talk about, but I think is worth mentioning, is something called yoga therapy, where you have a facilitator that says, okay, what is a situation that's triggering you? All right, so all of you know a situation, I know, that is triggering you. And the facilitator says, where do you feel it in your body? Because guys, the body is the subconscious. These triggers, these inner thorns are stuck in your body. Some of you might actually have physical manifestations of them. Chronic pain in a shoulder that just always hurts, in your low back, in your knee, in your stomach. It's living there. No one's ever taught you how to talk to it. You can. That's the inner thorn. And when you learn to talk to it, you can release it. And it's really powerful when you have a facilitator there, because sometimes, as he mentions, the wave comes up. He says it down here. And you typically push it back down in the name of protecting yourself. When this wave of loneliness comes, you're like, oh my God, it's going to wipe me out if I feel this. And so you push it back down. But when you have a facilitator there, they can help you move through it. When you go, it's too much, it's too much, it's too much, they say, take one more breath. Just feel where it is in your body. You're safe. And then that feeling can rise, and guys, it crests. And that's the blockage. That's the thorn being pulled out, right? When my dog gets so angry, like, Mom, it hurts. Don't touch me. And he wants to bite me. And then all of a sudden, boom, after that crest of like, it hurts, you're touching it, you're irritating it, to, oh, it's gone. It's out. It's been pulled out. That's the power of yoga therapy. So when Mickey's talking about this, I'm sitting here going, oh yeah, but I got practical ways to help people do this, because otherwise it can feel hard. It can feel really hard, and it's really helpful to have a facilitator hold that space for you. So I wanted to mention that, and I also wanted to mention I'm doing another round of Mastery in April. So if this would be helpful to you, reach out to me. We can have a consultation. We can talk about it. It is soul level work. Guys, it's teaching you how to get these inner thorns and get them out, which is what life's all about. So you can rest as witness, so it can be joyful and fun for you, okay? So the other thing that Mickey gets into as we hit time, but I'll just wrap up with this. He says, what you can do to solve this besides eating something, calling somebody, or doing something else that might quiet it down, what can you do is just notice it and notice that you notice it. So Mickey's whole thing is just come back to witness, release it. Something that might be helpful for you that you can do at home is to simply go to a mirror and look at the mirror, because you're literally witnessing yourself. For me, it's a really good visual. When I'm feeling pulled by an emotion, I'll go into the bathroom, or I'll pull up my phone camera even, and I'll just look at it. And I'll go, Danielle, you're the witness. You're not this. You're the one watching. And because I'm seeing myself, because I'm looking at a reflection, it makes a big difference. And so I can let the emotion flow through. Sometimes I just gotta cry, but I'll watch myself crying. Does this make sense? So I don't let the emotion pull me into all the BS that happens when the emotion comes, right? But I don't push it back in, right? I let the emotion come and I let it flow, and then that's that. Super powerful, all right? So the last thing I will say, when you are no longer absorbed in your melodrama, but instead sit comfortably deep inside the seat of awareness, you will start to feel this flow of energy. It comes up deep within you. Some call it Shakti. Some call it spirit. Some call it energy. Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever experienced this. What does Lou say? Delete, send out, exit portals, clear the midline. There you go, exactly. Has anyone sat quietly enough that they actually start to feel this inner presence in them? Stacy has. Yeah, it can be powerful. When I teach my students in mastery, you feel it. Like you start to feel tingles. You start to feel pulses. Like sometimes your limbs move and you're not moving them. Like that's the energy. That's the Shakti. That's what we're talking about. I know Angela knows what I'm talking about. I know Karen and Tina know. Yeah, it's powerful. So I'll leave you with this. Once you learn that it's okay to feel your inner disturbances and that you can no longer disturb your seat of consciousness, you will be free. You don't have to rid yourself of loneliness. You can cease to be involved with it. It's just another thing in the universe. Like cars, like grass, like the stars. It's none of your business. Just let things go. Awareness is simply aware while everything in the universe parades before it. Just be aware that it's there. Right? Watch it like you dispassionately watch a movie. Super powerful. All right. We went a little long, but I think it was worth it. So we'll be back next week. Chapter 10, Stealing Freedom for Your Soul. I will see you next week to discuss it. It's always so fun to start the week off with you guys. And I hope that you will practice being the witness this week and getting rid of those thorns.